Hi guys, I've had a really bad, stressful few days. The kids were amazing, so that's great, and I love my animals, especially, I've got 4 Beardies now. I rehomed one of the 5, and 2 of the Beardies still are young. They're sub-adults, the other 2 are adults. They're part of our Forever Pets, our program. We need them and love them very much. But one of the babies has no toes and half a tail because he was in a bad situation. The other one literally they took such bad care of the mother that the mother didn't give any nutrients to her eggs before she laid them, and they didn't take care of the baby when it was hatched at all. So the baby's head is huge. He's like half the size he should be, and it's just a mess. It's really sad. Hold on one second, guys. I'm gonna readjust this. I apologize. But anyways, it's really sad. He has like an egg head. He has no pattern at all that shows, which, you know, all Beardies are like really crazy patterns. No black on him, just all tan. And not even variations of tan, just like a mucky tan. And then he's got part of his tail dented, the other and like bit off, but also dented. It was an ugly situation. The people didn't understand that they didn't want to lose their money on him, and they marked him down to dirt cheap. And I was like, you know what? I normally don't go out and buy anything, even if it's an adoption fee, just because we rehabilitate animals in bad situations. But yikes, this was bad. So I spent the $30 on him and got him home, and he's just one of the most rewarding animals ever to work with. So anyway, other than those guys, the animal I'm closest to is Maren. He is my hybrid snake. He's 3 different species of snake mixed together, and I love him. Well, he has been growing rapidly and healthy, and he's beautiful. He was shedding, and he leaned back instead of forward, and the shed got put over his face, clamped his mouth, like his whole face shut, and like got stuck when he was trying to back up. And when I went in there, he was laying flat and not moving, and I freaked out, because he's my baby, he's my favorite. I've had him a long time, and nothing's went wrong, like, ever with him. I had him since he was a baby. He's, you know, gonna be 1 this summer, and late spring, early summer, he'll be 1. But was just so frantic. And I touched him, he didn't move, and I was like, this is the one animal other than those 2 little Beardies that, like, well, one of the 2 little Beardies, I should say. He's like in my top 2. And so I'm sitting there, and tears are pouring, and I'm just freaking out, and I touch him again, he doesn't move. So then I thought, for a last chance hope, because I know how to rescue, if I would have caught him right away, I know how to rescue snakes to get stuck in shed. So I took and saw it was lifted on his back. It all lifted at once, and he went to rub backwards instead of forwards. So I just took it very gently, took my nail, and just popped the top of the shed open that was not touching his body. It wasn't pulling it off scales, nothing. And then I just trimmed with the little scissors, like safety scissors, the part that was knotted over his nose. It still was a little bit like a centimeter from his face, so I wasn't risking hurting him or cutting him. And then he was still, so then I just kind of was like patting him and like gently trying to move up so I could cut it so it would be open around his head then fully, not just the thing. Cut it with my nail, I should say. And thank the love of God, he flipped his head up like in shock almost and looked at me, and then he almost looked at me like, thank you. And he put his head down, and so I just cut the whole way by his head so he wouldn't have to struggle. He obviously had been stuck. And I check on my animals every few hours. I mean, I don't sleep through the night ever, so they're checked on when I'm home at least once an hour. I go and just peek on them, make sure they're okay. And then, you know, they get watered 3 times a day, or their water's tipped off. We do deep cleans once a week where everything's scrubbed out. If something gets dirty sooner, then, you know, heaven forbid, we'll do it sooner if we have to. You know, it's not a big deal. But I was just a wreck about it. And then he started moving around a little, and I put my hand out, and he actually went and put his head on my hand, like, thank you, Mom. Because he's just such a loving snake, and he's so amazing. I mean, I would have not been functioning well. He is my therapy animal. My horse Midge is like my therapy animal, and I'm attached to a lot of the babies we save, but for therapy, the animals I use and bring to therapeutic sessions for myself are Maren the snake and my horse Midge. So I mean, and I can't bring my horse in everywhere, so I mean, he's my buddy. I would have been devastated. We have a relationship like most people feel they have with a dog that they take everywhere, like a security dog, therapy dog. I just would have been heartbroken. And I was. I mean, I was mourning and freaking out and crying, which I don't cry instantly, ever. And it just freaked me out terribly. So I had to come on and like vent about it. I know I have a few lighthearted like hair care story videos coming up soon, like my hair journey, and then the video about like what I do with my hair now versus mistakes I've made and all of that stuff. So I was really, really nervous to like come on here and in the middle of like such a lighthearted thing talk about such a panicking situation. But I don't know. And it's one of those things, like, he's lived in not the same thing. I had him in a tub, like a tub system when he was a baby, because he's an escape artist type snake from what the breeder always said about the hybrids, the type of hybrid he is. And I know they are from experience, from the individual breeds. Like, he's got Mexican Black King, California King, and Corn Snake. They're very feisty and they're very good at escaping, and I kept him in a tub for a long time. And then I moved him to, it's like the size of a large or extra large critter keeper, but it was a terrarium. And then I just blacked out the top and 3 edges, and the bottom was blacked out, of course, and just had part of the front doors, like where you could see in there if you had to, and just a ton of natural plants and just everything for him to be very hidden. But since I was moving him for therapy and stuff a lot, I wanted to be able to have him more accessible than like my tub system, which is ideal for most snakes. And he really liked having a bunch of different hides and all of the natural like plants and everything that are safe for him. And then I moved him to just one size bigger because he's getting huge, and it's still a little tank. Like, they don't need to be overwhelmed and have huge areas. But I moved him to one size up, and he's been there now for months. I have no issues. Nothing's changed other than it gets cleaned out. Like, I was just stunned. And I think it's just because he's been really growing good lately. Like, he always was growing good, but lately he's been like really wonderful, like growth spurting. So I think the shed just like he grew really big, and it was just tighter, and just he got stuck. He moved the other way. That's, like I said, I've seen and helped people that had their snakes stuck, but none of mine ever got stuck that bad before. So it was just a learning experience. I right away, like I said, made sure to open, not cutting his nose or touching it, but open so he could at least get some oxygen and move his mouth some. And then I made sure to, with the top that wasn't going to pull or rip any scales, I made sure to take my nail and just open it so he could wiggle out and get out, and that's what happened. So, thank goodness he's okay, because I need him as an animal, just like I need Mitch. I wouldn't be okay without them. They are my sanity in so many ways. So, I mean, it was just heartbreaking. I love them so much. Like, other than my daughters, I love them more than most people. Like, Maren is my baby, and Mitch, of course, is too. But thank God she's not a snake with stuck shed. Because that it just shook me up. So I will be getting back on track. I had a requested video from a really sweet viewer. She wanted to know some of the reasoning in my head, like the self-doubt talk that caused me to not leave right away with the abusive situation, and kind of like, ways to get your head prepared to leave sooner than I did and everything, and wording it really botched up, and I'll read her exact request again. So I want to get that serious video out, and then part 2 and 3 of the hair care stuff. Kind of did a story on how to get it to this not brassy gray ash blonde that I've been trying for. And then I'm gonna go in the last video in like really good detail and describe like exactly what I used, exactly what amounts of what I used, why this worked out, and what horrible horror stories I had in the past. So I'm going to do a really cool video on that. And in between, I want to do a video from like step 1 to when I had hair so long I could sit on it, to now where it is now. Like everything in between. I've had buzz cuts and crew cuts and fades and death hawks and mohawks and emo hairstyles, and just you name it. Had long hair, straight hair, curly hair, pink hair, anything. Blonde, brunette, red, black, just rainbow hair, just everything. And I really wanted to kind of show, like, do a little video about like some of the stuff I loved and was confident in. I loved my fade with it was a little longer on the top though than normal. Like 2 inches on the top, short fade on the sides, and pitch black. And I loved that. And I've had other styles and cuts I just hated. Like a bob that was 1 length under the chin looked like junk on me. It's really cute on a lot of people. Not my face shape, not me. Didn't work for me. So I just kind of want to do a lighthearted, fun video before a really factual video about how specifically not to do your hair, or what I learned not to do and what I learned to do that made it easier. But I do want to, in between that, get out the video about that the person requested, kind of about what to do with getting away from that situation. Why didn't I leave? Why did I have self-doubt? Why did I think I had to stay? What was it like giving up BDSM and only feeling negativity? Like, she wants a really detailed video. And I told her with some of my vlog stuff, I explained a lot more in depth. But I'll do like a very quick, like, psyche video. Not quick, but I'll do another video about it, not just make her go and look at the past explanations. But I'll do a whole video on, like, hey, this is how they get into your head, and this is what you start believing that's not true, and here's why I stayed, and what I was afraid of, and what I did to get away, and here's what I wish I would have done differently. I'm going to make a more polished video on that, even though I do have a lot of videos on it. It's more sporadic and just telling my story. And then the one is just how to leave, but it's not why I stayed, it's just how to leave. So I do want to get that video up for her. I know she thinks it's really important, and so do I. And I always care about your feedback and what you guys want to hear. So I just had to come on here and rant a little bit, not rant, but vent about how scared I was that I was going to lose my baby. And I had just checked on him before it wasn't even, gosh, I found him at about noon, and I had checked them at 11, so it wasn't even an hour. Like, it was just an hour, because I got in there at 11. I putzed around. I made sure everything was, good, temperature's good, thermostat's all doing good, misted a few tanks. I was down there for like 20 minutes, so it was like 11:20 when I came up, and then I was down there again by noon, so by 12. So, oh my gosh, it's scary, but thank God he's okay, and I'll give you updates on him. And everybody's doing amazing. I've got 3 rats and 4 mice that are going to Madison with me today to hopefully find forever homes with a really sweet person. They'll just be adopted out. We have a lot of animals that I've decided to keep. We have like a natural tank. It's huge, and it's got like long-tails, a couple types of frogs. I'm trying to think. 2 types of frogs, 2 different types of long-tails. And then a few little toads that are all safe to go together. It's a gigantic tank with all natural plants, and it's just beautiful. I've got that tank. I've got about 6 Pac-Man frogs right now. At least 4 of those will be staying as permanent residents. The 4 Beardies we have now will never be up for adoption. And now I've got, I want to say, about our permanent group of snakes consists of about 20 or 22 snakes. I'm on the fence about 2. So right now we've got about 22 permanent keeper snakes. 7 of those are not ball pythons. All the rest are really fancy morphs that I'm working hard on. We've got 1 banded gecko. 1 got rehomed. This one's not going anywhere. He's really special needs. We have about 25 leopard geckos. They will all be staying with us. I know that they end up always getting adopted out fast because people like them, and then kids get them, and it's not right. So we've got those guys, and I use them for educational shows a lot, and none of them will ever be rehomed. They are my babies. I have Girlfriend and Topper, who are my crested geckos. They're never going to go anywhere. They're such sweethearts, and I just adore them. We have tomato frogs, 2 tomato frogs, 4 long-tailed lizards. I'm trying to think. 2 of the toads, the firebelly toads. 1 Cuban tree frog. We just have a lot of stuff. I'm trying to think. There's something I'm missing too that's driving me nuts. That is like in our keeper group, I should say. What the heck am I missing? We have a breeding pair. I counted them in the leopard geckos, but they're like actual ones that have been a breeding pair forever. So we occasionally adopt out their babies. But that's, let me see if I can get the lighting a little better. Probably not. Anyway, that's that for the most part. The lighting's junk right now, so I'm gonna try to move quickly. I apologize for this. Just at my first stop of the day. Oh, and then we have Mama Mouse, who I keep. She's got 1 baby with her that she's raising, so they stay. Pico stays. We have 7 hamsters. They all stay because they're really old. They all have their own giant areas. They're way too happy and way too spoiled. We have a hairless hamster, a winter white, a robo-dwarf, a Syrian, 2 teddy bears. I think I said the hairless, but I'm not sure if I said that. We have a Russian hamster, like a Russian snow something, I can't remember. She's a hybrid of 2 different types. I don't remember the exact cross. There, that's better. I don't remember the exact cross that she is, but yeah, it's interesting. We have oh, and then we have a project. We right now have 3, but we're going to hopefully today pick up more. They are soft furs, African soft furs. So I'm really excited to get a bigger program of them because they're really good pets and a good alternative to a lot of other small animals. So I'm excited to kind of introduce people on that wonderful world and how they work and everything, because that'll be really nice. We have 3 king snakes. One's the hybrid Maren, who's a king snake, corn snake cross. And then we have 4 corn snakes, Mushu and Pongo, Pixie, and Peach. And then we adopted out a bunch of corn snakes, but these guys are all the ones that I'm mentioning are all the ones we're keeping. We have a quarter horse foal who is ours, who will be born soon. She's in utero. We purchased her. And then we have Mitch, my Mustang, and she will be with me forever. I've had her forever, more than 12 years, I believe. So yeah, we have a lot of really good pets, and we use them for therapy purposes. We use them to educate people. I use them, like I said, Maren and Mitch especially, for my own mental health, and it helps a lot. We have the resident old house cat, Peter, who we adore and love very much. So he'll be with us until the end of time as well, of course, because he is just the best dude in the world. He's such a sweet guy, and I'm really thankful to have him. But yeah, we've got some nice ones. We also have some other mice. They're silkies. They're spotted silkies that I breed. It's just more humane in my opinion. I like to breed them as pets and actually like handle them and teach them how to be nice. So I have my breeders that I do keep with them. And like I said, I have Pico and the mama with her baby that I would never ever rehome. But some of the breeders, they would, for the right person, they would go to a forever home. But yeah, so we just plan to get some more animals in. They're all insured, they're all happy, they're all great, and I'm excited to kind of give more information on how we're going to expand and do more stuff with that. So I'm hopeful that, the only thing I've been having an issue with is I love rats. They're smart, they're fun, they're great to play with. I just don't bond to them for some reason. Like, I love our soft furs, I love my hamsters because they're obnoxious and hilarious. I adore my mice, like, they're wonderful, but rats I have a hard time getting attached to. So I have multiple times now had breeding groups of rats, and I always, like, for the right person, just adopt them out for free and, or whatever, just trade for food or something for the other animals, just because we don't click. So I'm trying to get myself over that, because we are a rescue and we take in rats all the time. And we treat them just the same. It's just for some reason I don't bond as well to them. So I'm hoping to kind of work on that and get over that a little bit. So I'm trying my best. But yeah, that's kind of an update. We've got the old couple of bearded dragons, an old pair, and they're just best friends. They're old. And the 2 babies, the one without toes and a tail, and the other one that just is malnourished and had everything wrong, and they're angels to work with. I never really liked Beardies before them. Like, I liked them, of course, because I love animals and lizards, but they just weren't my number one. I like leopard geckos a lot better, and banded geckos, stuff like that, cresteds. But ever since I've gotten those 2 in, and then the 2 babies, like, they're everything. And sure, we've had 5 or 6 Beardies we've adopted out this year that weren't meant to be our forever family, and they were all very nice too, but I didn't get the bond I got with these guys with them. So yeah, we're hopeful. Right now I rehomed a bunch of the rodent projects we had, like a ton of mice, a ton of rats, like I said, and we rehomed a lot of our, like, small animals, like guinea pigs, stuff like that, to forever homes. Of course, adopted them to forever homes because we're a rescue and the point is to move on. But with a lot of the leopard geckos and the snakes especially, I've got a breeding plan and a program for them. So they're not going to be rehomed ever for any reason. If I take in one of those unless I deliberately say, okay, this is a situation where it'll be a rehab and rehome. Otherwise, they're with the intention to keep for sure. And I love my guys. They are just really excellent animals. So I'm just keeping my eyes out for good people, for the ones we have up for adoption, and it's nonprofit. It's just it's a really lovely situation. So I wanted to come on here and just talk about kind of what we've got going on. I'm going to go in depth and kind of do a tour of my animals, the ones we keep. The geckos and the snakes are the biggest number. Otherwise, it's like I said, it's like 7 or less in like groups of species. Most of them like 2 or 1 or something like that. So it's not a huge, like, I've got 5,000 animal collection. It's not much. It's like a little less than 100, and shockingly, for reptiles, that's actually really good, because I've been going to other like local breeders and rescues, and most people have like 200 when they're talking about like geckos and leopard geckos and stuff and snakes. And I make sure that I hold all of mine and handle them and work with them, unless they're a species like a Pac-Man frog that you're not supposed to handle a lot. Like, my animals are all my family, and I love them, so I'll never expand to that point. That's why I'm limiting myself to at most. I'd never go right now. I've replanned everything out. I've got 22 keeper snakes, for sure 20 right now, and I'm never going to go to 30 for keepers. Even if they're all breeders, it's not going above 30 unless for some reason that's where I hit the jackpot and that's like my livelihood one day. But for now, never more than that, and I have plenty of time for those guys, and they have plenty of room and space and everything. And the leopard geckos, again, I wouldn't go over 30 of those. I've only got 2 cresties and 1 banded, so it's really not expanding on those guys unless it's for the rescue and rehabilitation part. But everything else, like I said, is kind of a lower number. So I'm really excited to show you guys what programs I've got. The few that I want to actually breed and like actually breed for personality and have them be good pets, and then the other ones that are just my babies and they help me therapeutically. I just want to show everybody how helpful animals are. So I've got some really good videos coming out soon, and I had the video filmed and edited about pet stores versus online buying versus local chains, everything like that. But I've went to another 15 stores now, and I want to redo the video because I've gotten some in-depth opinions and insight. So that video will come up soon. But I love you guys. Thank you for listening to me rant. I was just such a wreck after that happened today that I needed, even in the shitty lighting, to come here and talk. I love you guys.